Hey, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about what we think might be the weakest link, which is the XFC.
All right, well, let's start with the start of our divisional winners, Tom. The Bolts. Well, despite our laughing at the Bolts, they have made the playoffs the last couple of years. Just, again, the longest tenured team without a Super Bowl. That's our yearly reminder. But let's dig in and see if they can fix that this year, Mike. Let's start. What do you think of their team?
Well, looking at the quarterback position, solid. He had Colin Kaepernick last year, and he has him once again this year, and he's got Andy Dalton as a backup. These are two great interchangeable quarterbacks. They could score at least 12 points per game at any given time. I think the main concern that I have when I look at his roster more so is the running back position. Not a solid, good number one there between Zach Stacy and Noshawn Moreno. We don't even know if Noshawn Moreno is going to get the bulk of the carries this year for the Miami Dolphins, so clearly he's relying heavily on Zach Stacy.
Danny Woodhead has very little potential to do anything. It's mostly just hoping for 4 touchdowns.
For our league, yeah. To me, not a lot of running backs that actually scare you on his particular squad. No. Going to the wide receiving position, I think it's solid. I don't have too much of an issue. Not a real big number one, but he does have some depth there with
A lot of number twos. Cobb, Riley Cooper, Golden Tate, a possible breakout. Right. Torrey Smith his love of him will
Golden Tate to me, I think more so is the wild card when I actually look at his roster. We know what Cobb could actually do, but Golden Tate to me is more of a wild card considering he's being paired up with Calvin Johnson. And Riley Cooper had a solid year last year for the Philadelphia Eagles. Whether or not he'll duplicate that could be a different story.
Jimmy Graham functions pretty much as another wide receiver.
To me, I think, that's his best player on his squad. So, again, it's an okay supporting cast, but his running backs are less to be desired. Looking at the rest of his team, he's got 2 solid offenses.
He brought back the same thing. Same exact core last year.
He does have the combination with Kaepernick and with San Francisco, so he's expecting big things from them once again this year. And he brought even the same defense that he had last year, which is Baltimore and Cincinnati. It's interesting that he had 2 defenses that are within the same division and how that necessarily will work out.
Picking winners. He's ran this roster before, so he's familiar with it. He knows he's been good in managing the rosters for the most part.
That's right.
It's just a matter of when you look at the flex position hurts him a bit this year because he's gonna pay for it a bit now because he just doesn't have the depth as much.
Well, yeah. The one thing I look at his team is not a lot of depth, but could certainly hurt some teams within the league on any given day. Just by looking at, his defenses are decent, except when they play each other. It'd be interesting to see what he elects to do there. And
the games are so close, it probably won't even matter. It's either a low-scoring game or a high-scoring game. He'll lose either way on that one.
Nothing really jumps out except for Jimmy Graham, but his 2 offenses are solid, and you do like the combination that he has with Kaepernick and with San Francisco.
It's not a bad team. It's pretty much what we saw from last year.
It's almost the identical team that we saw from last year. It is. He brought a lot of players back, so obviously he expects a lot more success.
Torrey Smith sends his love. All right, so let's talk about you. As usual, you destroyed someone's Super Bowl chances. Last year you broke Ben's heart.
I always seem to have a good second half run. This is going to be a challenge for me based upon what I have on my roster.
You set the bar pretty. I'll go through this one here since this is your team here. Quarterback Russell Wilson and Eli. Please accept my interception, Manning.
Well, I had him on my squad last year, so.
Well, at least you got rid of Matt Schwab this year because that was always fun. The free Phillip Rivers videos were especially nice.
Yes.
Running backs, you brought back Arian Foster despite his injury. Really, Steven Jackson, another injury, and Steven Fumbleitis Wrigley. Your running backs can really take off, or they can all crash and burn.
Yes, so I'm really putting my eggs in one basket when I talk about my running backs this year. I'm expecting Jackson to have a better year. I'm expecting the Falcons to have a better year this year, so I expect him to produce. Foster's going to produce in certain games this year, but you're right. I'm going to rely heavily on Foster, and hopefully Ridley will keep his job this year.
Also, Mike's favorite phrase on all these podcasts, by the way, if you haven't heard this yet, is eggs in one basket.
Yes.
Wide receiver. The wide receiving core is stronger. Julio Jones, Eric Decker, solids. Anquan Bolding, which has always been a favorite of yours.
No, he hasn't.
You like Bolding.
I do, but I never draft him.
Yeah, but you like him.
Yes, I do.
He fits your mold of that old-timer wide receiver. Kind of replaces Steve Smith.
And Marcus Colston.
Yeah, kind of replaces the old-timer wide receiver.
I finally have some depth at my wide receivers, something I haven't had in a long time.
Yeah, backed up by Cecil Eat My Shorts. There's no D'Angelo Williams on your roster this year.
No.
A lot of the old garbage on your. Yeah, I used to mock is gone.
And a good tight end this year.
Yeah, you stole Kyle Rudolph from me on draft day. I like Kyle Rudolph a lot. That's going to be solid. Jeremichael Finley,
It's a backup. Treat it as what it is.
It's nice that you drafted him considering his freak injury last year, but probably not worth it. You're running 2 kickers this year. Not too many teams are doing that.
Subject to change.
Yeah. Offense, Detroit's excellent. So who doesn't like Detroit? The Giants, well, I guess you weren't watching too much football during last year with the Giants offensively. They were bottom 5 offense.
Yep.
I guess you have a little faith in a bounce back there. Defenses are okay. The Jets and Atlanta, not too much. There's just
expect better things from them this year.
I'm just not sure where you're beating teams exactly. Where's your? I don't see a lot of strength on your team. Just a lot of little nitbits here and there. It's not like you're going to scrounge your way like you always do, but nothing about your team says you're going to get a Super Bowl appearance.
On paper, depends. Let's see what I do.
Let's see how you do. You've scrounged plenty before with weak drafts. So
That's right.
If any team's going to dig themselves out, it's going to be you. All right, let's turn our attention to another team. Let's go to the Hot Rods. What's our thoughts on the Hot Rods this year, Mike?
I think the Hot Rods actually have a better team than what they've had.
Oh, yeah, I think they do, actually. There's a lot of potential here as we take a look at their roster. Quarterbacks, they kept the luck, which I really like.
Yes.
And as an insurance policy, it can't hurt to have Tom Brady.
I think they have arguably the 2 best. Actually, if you look at the rosters, it's going to be curious to see exactly what the Hot Rods do. What day do they like to start Luck and what day do they like to start Brady? I think when we talk about what the Hot Rods are actually doing this year in the draft, they're using a lot more combinations this year than what they have in prior years.
Look at the wide receiving core. We're pairing Luck with Wayne and Brady with Amendola and Edelman.
That's right.
It's smart. It could pay off. It may not be a very strong wide receiving core, but there's a good benefit to this in this case. And the plus side is, while they're not deep at wide receiver, the running back and tight end cores of this team are something special.
It's got potential. I'll just say that. DeMarco Murray's a good, solid running back. Actually, I think he took him with his first pick in the first round this year, considering he only had 2 first-round picks. The rest are a little bit questionable, but then again, you know what? You could see some production.
Someone can break out.
Vereen or Spiller, you could actually see some.
Someone can break out. Someone can break out on this roster, and it's very little risk because of how deep they are. If one doesn't work, the other one can.
But running backs are not clearly as advantageous to him as much as the wide receiving core he's got great depth at his tight end. I think he's actually got great depth where he could actually use in the flex position.
Yeah, Jordan Reed and Greg Olsen.
Reed and Miller, certainly worth a touchdown here or there from what he's got on his roster. Green Bay, no debate, he's got a very good offense. Miami, we'll see what Miami does this year.
Not a bad backup investment. They won't be using him much anyway.
Considering he'll be using Green Bay the majority of the time. Defense, I think he lacks a little bit of depth considering he only has New England. Okay, that is going to be highly questionable this year. See what he does defensively. But the combos itself with Luck and with Brady matched up with Julian Edelman and with Amendola certainly is a great, desirable roster, along with Luck as well as Reggie Wayne. So we expect big things out of the Hot Rods.
It's a very inventive lineup.
It's creative.
Yeah, it's much more creative than the Ray Rice tagging every year
this year.
We approve of that.
Yes.
And last up, that takes us to dear old Maximus, our second-year team in the league. Last year, who suffered from bad lineup decisions and just not submitting their lineup for some reason. So Mike, how do you think they'll do if they submit a lineup?
I don't know if they'll do that much better. I don't see a lot of depth on their squad this year. Tony Romo, solid quarterback. Joe Flacco's a decent backup. The issue that I have is not necessarily the quarterback position. It's with everything else. When I look at the wide receivers, his best wide receivers, T.Y. Hilton, that actually is a good solid pick, but nothing else jumps out and scares you. You have Steve Smith. I don't know how much production you're going to get out of Steve Smith in Baltimore.
Third wide receiver, Nick Burleson, Merrill Manningham. Third wide receiver, Eddie Roy. Notice the training when I say third wide receiver on squads.
And Ruben Randall. So despite having a lot of wide receivers on his squad, there's just not a lot of depth. There's not a lot that actually scares you. You have number 2 receivers. At best, he might get 6 points here and there, but a lot of the receivers don't really jump out at you. And a lot of the running backs outside of Adrian Peterson, really, it's a one-man show.
Which is a much better projection than Tony Gonzalez last year. Props for an excellent first pick this year.
Yeah, it was much better. Again, Darren McFadden, I don't have a lot of confidence in. He has let a lot of teams down over the years, and Mark Ingram as well. Don't expect a lot of production out of the running back position for New Orleans this year, but nothing jumps out and scares you outside of the fact that he's got T.Y. Hilton on the squad, his tight end is excellent, and Vernon Davis and Adrian Peterson. So really, he's relying heavily on those three.
It's wide receiver slot roulette for the flex position, and that's a dangerous thing when you look at other teams who have a solid flex position option. This team does not have it.
No, I don't expect a lot of points overall.
Turning to our offense, Seattle should be manageable as a number one offense, but Cleveland?
Don't see a lot of things out of Cleveland this year, do you?
Not really. Is Josh Gordon coming back early from his drug test?
Apparently not.
No, Brian Hoyer, Ben Tate, I just don't think that's an offense I want to trust.
Yeah, I don't trust Cleveland as much. Seattle's good, solid offense. Not prolific, but certainly could put a points in particularly at home. When you look at New Orleans is a solid defense.
He's an excellent defensive choice, actually. I'm going to say, we don't think of New Orleans normally as a great defense, but watch themselves last year. They were a top 10 scoring defense. I think they can anchor it. Oakland, on the other hand, will anchor many other teams that they face.
So not a lot of depth, particularly the offensive defensive position. Good, solid number ones, but very, very weak number twos.
It's a better draft for him this year. Less egregious errors. Just not a lot of high value players though in this. We're not sure what caused that, but maybe he'll get a little better as the season goes on. And if you submit your lineup, I guarantee you'll have a better result.
Certainly increase your chances.
Yes. So with that in mind, let's rank how we feel about the NFC. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm going to pick something. I know you and Tom have dominated the division since it's been
I'm going to give the edge to the Hot Rods.
Yes, we are going Hot Rods.
We urge the Hot Rods to watch this podcast because we are personally picking them. And Tom, I don't care what you do with that thumb over there. Okay, I don't care what you say, what you're going to bellow over there. We are selecting the Hot Rods to actually win this division, even over myself. Now, we don't necessarily that's going to be true, okay, but we like their potential. We like their potential, and we want to see them do something this year.
One playoff appearance in their whole existence. Number 2 is happening this year. Yeah. We're saying it.
We're saying it.
Cinderella's coming.
That's right.
Prepare to be wrong.
Second place, we're going to give to Tom.
We're going to give second place to Tom. Not very scary, number 2. To me, I think it's more of a toss-up between me and Tom this year. I think I have the depth over Tom, even though Tom has the more, I would say, notable players on his roster.
And that's why we're giving Tom the edge over.
That's why we're giving the edge over. But it's not a overwhelming number 2. I still think it's really anyone's division. I still think it's the weakest division overall. Maximus, I don't think necessarily.
Maximus, we're not ready to endorse your Cinderella story yet. But please prove us wrong. We'd love to have our predictions thrown in our face.
Sure, absolutely. But out of all the rosters that we actually seen this year, we still think the XFC is the weakest. But nevertheless, you can still get a wild card spot. It only takes one win to advance within the playoffs. All right,
Mike, here's something we haven't prepped for yet. Give me a Super Bowl prediction. What do you got this year?
I'd say Pedro would get back this year. I really would.
I'd like to see it. He has the roster to do it. I don't know if I want to bet against the trend, though. I
think Ben still has the second best. I think Ben's got the second best. I think Pedro's got the first.
I'd like to see a Rough Riders Falcons Super Bowl here.
You think the Falcons are going to make it?
I was higher than last year.
And that didn't work out.
That did, but Jonathan sure as hell did.
I was but you're not very high in Jonathan.
No, Jonathan, sorry man, I'm off you. I jumped ship on you.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see the Falcons pull it off, baby.
Again, he's riding Denver pretty strong once again this year. It's hard to think that it'll duplicate, but certainly could be very solid.
Pedro, I love your team. I'm not betting against the curse though. I'm going to go Rough Riders Falcons Super Bowl.
Could you see Hot Rods in the finale?
Let's just get to the playoffs first, man. I respect your team a lot. You got to prove to me that you can get to the playoffs. Then I'll predict you next year.
Yes.
So let's look at the Week 1 schedule now. So for Week 1, we got Solmente and Bolts. Your thoughts, Mike?
It'll be interesting. I don't think it's the game of the week.
No, it's not. It's a mid-tier game, I would call this. Yeah, it's a fun game here. Hot Rods and Rough Riders.
It's fun. I still don't think it's number 1.
No, it's not.
I think the next one is number 1.
I like our two first-person predictions here. I can't get, I know this is a Super Bowl rematch, but after doing this podcast with you, I can't give this game. I can't give it. I can't do it.
Respect. I think we have to smash.
No, I do not respect Boss Man's roster to give him the game of the week. No.
So you think it's going to be a cakewalk?
That's like the Pill Fight Elite, just from ways what we've talked about. Come on.
But it's still a rematch of the Super Bowl. How could you not say that would be the best matchup?
It's not, because we looked at the teams and we analyzed this for an hour, and we damn well know this is not the best matchup.
I would agree. I would agree.
Other than who has the better running back, we can answer that question
yeah.
for. Let's see, we got Blitz and System of the Down. Another mid-tier matchup here.
Mine is a mid-tier matchup, considering you got Detroit and Giants actually floating between both of those teams.
Boy, I feel bad for you, man. The Detroit looks a lot better than the Giants.
So you know I'm picking the Giants to win Week 1.
You heard it here. And then we have probably your Kilotones and Maximus, none of two highly ranked teams. You know what? I gotta say game of the week is Hot Rods and Rough Riders.
I'd like to see it, yeah.
Stop mentioning me.
You just want to be the center of attention.
Because it's the two teams potentially fight for that last wild card spot according to you guys.
I have Hot Rods and Rough Riders.
You're talking wild card already, not even the division.
According to you guys, I'm saying I'm going to win the division.
I'm going to give it to the Hot Rods and Rough Riders.
They're the two division winners we picked. They're battling each other week 1. They're the week 1 game of the week. Sorry, right. Super Bowl repeats.
That's right.
I love that we get in there early, but
we'll say you're the second best matchup, okay?
Not really. I don't really care. I'm the second best. But hey,
I don't care about your first one. So what's your point?
Well, you're not involved in it. So
you're not involved.
Exactly.
So with that in mind, we look forward. We wish everyone the best of luck. We hope you watched all the videos and not just cherry picked your way through it, because you might have missed some fun Drupal reels.
And please remember to submit your lineups and to make roster changes. And we look forward to more trades.
Yes, we love trade discussions, people. With that, we're signing off. Andrew Berg here.
Michael Berg.
Good luck to you.
And pay attention to the injury week.